care, a quiet little proof that you were there. I woke up smiling at the city noise, still hearing last night in your lowered voice. You sent a picture of the street we crossed, two shadows leaning where the signal stopped. I typed out something, erased it twice, then said I liked the way you laughed last night. And now the morning feels less ordinary, like every corner knows your name. I'm not rushing, I'm not hiding, I just don't want this spark to fade. Meet me in the first light, before the day gets loud. We don't need a big sign, just your hand reaching out. If this is how it starts, let it start slow and bright. I'll take one honest step with you into the first light. You called while waiting for the train downtown, said you found my song and played it loud. I heard the doors close, heard you laugh, like we already had a little past. Made no promises, drew no lines, just traded Tuesday for another night. But something easy changed the air, like I had room for you already there. And all the small things keep repeating, your crooked smile, your careful way. I'm not dreaming too far forward, I just want one more today. Meet me in the first light, before the day gets loud. We don't need a big sign, just your hand reaching out. If this is how it starts, let it start slow and bright. I'll take one honest step with you into the first light. Quietly, no thunder in the room, just two phones lighting up with plans for afternoon. Maybe all I need to know is how calm I feel with you. Meet me in the first light, let the whole day open wide. We don't need to call it perfect, we can simply call it right. If this is how we start, I won't look away this time. I'll take one honest step with you and stay inside the light.
Texted 40 minutes, that's all I've got. Right before another meeting downtown, I grabbed my keys and met you halfway. You were tying your hair up, laughing in the crosswalk. We walked 3 blocks with nowhere planned, sharing fries from a paper bag. You checked the time and rolled your eyes, said I hate that we're always saying goodbye. But somehow every little window turns into something worth replaying. Even when the city's rushing, you and I keep rearranging. We'll make our own timing, stealing out from the noise. Take the long way home together, leave the deadlines for tomorrow. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be us. Every day keeps changing, but I still choose us. You called me later from the rideshare back, said your dinner turned into emails again. I stayed awake and kept the light on, till your tired voice came through the speaker. We laughed about the movie we missed, promised Friday wasn't moving this time, and somehow that small promise felt bigger than all our plans. Maybe love isn't about slowing down, maybe it's learning how to fit, making room inside the chaos and never calling it quits. We'll make our own timing, stealing out from the noise, take a long way home together, leave the deadlines for tomorrow. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be us. Every day keeps changing, but I still choose us. Us close, we'll make our own timing. Even when the weeks get rough, we'll keep finding little moments, and they'll always be enough. Life keeps rearranging, but I still run to your touch. Every day keeps changing, and I still choose us. You sent me your landing time at 7:30. I checked it twice while fixing up the room. Your old sweatshirt was still hanging by the doorway, like somehow I knew you'd be back soon. I missed 2 trains, trying not to smile. Bought flowers from the stand outside the station. Then I saw your suitcase turning round the corner, and forgot every delayed conversation. Months of screens and late night voices faded underneath the morning sky. No more counting days between us, no more saying maybe next time. There's no street between us now, no little blue dots on a map. I can hear you laughing in the same room. I can hold you without looking back. We don't have to chase tomorrow, we can finally slow it down. There's no street between us now. We carried boxes up the narrow staircase, argued over where the records go. You stole the bigger side of the closet, then kissed me when I said no. Take out bags and open windows, your shoes beside mine on the floor. Funny how the things I dreamed about look so ordinary and so much more. Nothing grand and nothing perfect, just the sound of your keys at night. After all those separate mornings, you're beside me in the light. There's no street between us now, no little blue dots on a map. I can hear you laughing in the same room. I can hold you without looking back. We don't have to chase tomorrow, we can finally slow it down. There's no street between us now. Maybe love was never missing, it
was waiting for this view. 2 toothbrushes by the mirror and another set of keys for you. After all that time apart, home became a word for two. There's no street between us now, no flights to catch, no midnight calls, just your voice across the hallway and your shadow on the wall. We made it through the distance, and somehow it brought us here. There's no street between us now, and I want you even nearer.
You spread the photos on the living room floor, tape in your mouth, laughing at the ones we ignored. The mountain train, the beach in June, the blurry shot we almost threw. You climbed the chair to reach the wall. I held your sleeve so you wouldn't fall. Then you pointed at the empty side and said, maybe Italy next July. Funny how a Sunday afternoon can make the future feel so close. Nothing written, nothing certain. Still I like the road we chose. Put another pin on the map, leave a little room for dreams. I don't need to know every answer, I just like making plans with you. Years from now, if we change directions, we'll still have something true. Put another pin on the map and leave the rest for me and you. The delivery guy brought a second lamp. You said the color didn't match. We argued for a minute or two, then laughed because we always do. Your socks were scattered near the couch, my records still weren't sorted out, but somehow all the messy things started feeling permanent. Funny how ordinary moments turn into the things we keep. Nothing perfect, nothing polished, still I never want to leave. Put another pin on the map, leave a little room for dreams. I don't need to know every answer, I just like making plans with you. Years from now, if we change directions, we'll still have something true. Put another pin on the map and leave the rest for me and you. Maybe home isn't a place we found, maybe it's a list we keep adding to. Little notes stuck on the fridge, and one more season next to you. Put another pin on the map, even if the route keeps changing, we'll keep making little promises and keep finding reasons to stay. Someday we'll laugh at these pictures and all the dreams we follow through. Put another pin on the map, I'm building every year with you.
The rain had stopped before I reached your block. You stood beneath the awning checking your watch. I brought the umbrella you left in my car. You said, I guess we both took things too far. We started walking without picking a side, past delivery bikes and the morning traffic lights. You looked at me when the signal turned green and said what you meant instead of what you screamed. The space between our footsteps started closing with each block. I felt the weight come off us when you finally let me talk. We can make it clear again, let the hard words wash away. I don't need to win the story, I just want you here to stay. We can meet each other halfway, we can choose a softer end. The sky is opening above us, we can make it clear again. We found a bench beside the basketball court. You traced the line through the water with your shoe. I told you why I went quiet. You told me what the silence did to you. No perfect speech, no grand apology, just both of us admitting what we missed. Then you leaned your shoulder into mine like forgiveness could begin as small as this. The city kept on moving, but we didn't need to run. Your hand rested beside me and I knew we weren't done. We can make it clear again, let the hard words wash away. I don't need to win the story, I just want you here to stay. We can meet each other halfway, we can choose a softer end. The sky is opening above us, we can make it clear again. Never getting hurt, there's no one to turn around. It's lowering your defenses before they pull the whole thing down. This time we heard each other out. We can make it clear again, leave the worst of yesterday. We don't have to hide the damage, we can learn a better way. Now we're walking close together and your fingers find my hand. The sky is bright across the pavement and we're clear again. Picture while we waited for the train. No cropped out shoulder, no careful frame. You left my hand resting over yours, then turned the screen around without saying a word. 3 little dots started filling the chat. Your sister sent a heart, your roommate sent a laugh. I watched your face for a change of mind, but you pulled me closer when the doors arrived. We spent too long in side streets, always leaving one by one. Now the secret feels much smaller, standing here beneath the sun. Take us out in daylight, let them see what we became. I don't want another evening where we have to hide your name. We can walk in through the front door, we can stay when people stare. Take us out
not going anywhere. At dinner, you slid your chair next to mine. Your friends made room without asking why. Someone raised a glass and called us overdue. You shook your head, but I could see you knew. On the walk back, your phone wouldn't stop. We read every message at the corner shop. You said it feels strange, but it feels right. Then kissed me once beneath the pharmacy light. All the rooms we kept divided, open wider as we move. Nothing changes what we have, we just have less left to prove. Take us out in daylight, let them see what we became. I don't want another evening where we have to hide your name. We can walk in through the front door, we can stay when people stare. Take us out in daylight, I'm not going anywhere. Being known won't make this fragile. Being seen won't make it less. We were real behind the curtain. We're still real without the rest. Now I can love you without editing. Take us out in daylight, let the whole street know our names. No more leaving separate doorways, no more rearranging frames. We can walk in close together with nothing missing from the view. Take us out in daylight, I'm proud to stand with you. You missed the last bus, so we walked uptown, trading old stories we both heard before. You bumped my shoulder crossing 23rd, then kept your hand against my arm. At the corner where we usually split, neither one of us turned away. You said this might change everything. I said, maybe that's okay. For years I knew your favorite songs, your worst excuse, your family names. But standing there I saw you differently, and nothing felt the same. Maybe we're better than friends, better than almost and never. Maybe the reason we stayed so close was leading us here together. You already know where I hide, I already know how you've been. So kiss me once without laughing. Maybe we're better than friends. The next day you came by after work, holding 2 sodas and a nervous grin. We sat too far apart on the sofa till I reached over and pulled you in. You asked if Friday still felt real. I showed you the message I never sent. It said I've wanted this for longer than either of us will admit. We don't need new introductions, we don't need to start from zero. Every road behind us brought us to the part we didn't know. Maybe we're better than friends, better than almost and never. Maybe the reason we stayed so close was leading us here together. You already know where I hide, I already know how you've been. So kiss me once without laughing. Maybe we're better than friends. If it gets awkward, we'll say it. If we're afraid, we'll
will slow down. But I don't wanna step backward now that your hand has found mine. Some changes feel like coming home. I know we're better than friends, better than waiting forever. All of the years we stood side by side, we're teaching our hearts the measure. You know the truth in my eyes, I know where this story begins. So kiss me now without laughing. We're better than friends.
I found your earring underneath the passenger seat, right where you dropped it, reaching for the heat. The dashboard clock still held the wrong time, but I remembered every minute of the drive. I wrote you left something in my car, then waited with the message sitting there before I sent it. Your name lit up. Did last night feel that good to you? I read it once, then twice, like the words might disappear. All the doubt I carried home suddenly wasn't here. The next morning feels different. The whole room has changed its shape. Your voice is still inside it. Your smile is still awake. I thought I'd have to wonder if you wanted this to stay. Then you called me in the next morning and asked to see me again. We met outside the theater afternoon. You wore the jacket, I said, look good on you. I held the earring in my open hand. You said, keep it till our second plan. We bought 2 tickets for a week from then, already talking like we'd always been. When our shoulders touched inside the line, neither one of us moved this time. No dramatic declaration, just another date to keep. But the future felt less distant when you smiled across the street. The next morning feels different. The whole room has changed its shape. Your voice is still inside it. Your smile is still awake. I thought I have to wonder if you wanted this to stay. Then you called me in the next morning and asked to see me again. Not to pretend. The next morning feels different. Now I know the reason why you were waking up and hoping I would still be on your mind. I don't have to keep on wondering. We already chose the day. You called me in the next morning, and this time we're on our way.
kept touching something in your pocket. I kept checking mine beneath the tablecloth. When dessert came, the waiter missed his cue. You laughed too loudly, and I nearly did too. Then we both reached forward at the same time. Two little boxes crossing in the light. For 1 second no one moved, then the whole room disappeared. Every future we'd been circling was suddenly sitting here. We had the same answer before either question came. Two nervous hands across the table, two hearts choosing the same name. No one had to go first, no one had to be afraid. We had the same answer, and forever found its place. We left the restaurant without eating the cake. Walked 10 blocks because we couldn't sit still. You called your mother near the avenue. I heard her crying through the speaker grill. At home we placed the boxes by the sink, took turns trying on the rings again. You said nothing really changes tonight. I said everything does, in the best way. The room looked just as usual, but the air had shifted wide. All the plans we spoke in maybes had a day beside them now. We had the same answer before either question came. Two nervous hands across the table, two hearts choosing the same name. No one had to go first, no one had to be afraid. We had the same answer, and forever found its place. Love wasn't one perfect gesture, it was every year before. The rent, the trips, the missed appointments, the keys beside the door. Tonight we chose 1,000 more. We had the same answer. Now the questions have been said. Two rings catching morning sunlight, two new promises ahead. We don't know every chapter, but we know the choice we've made. We had the same answer, and we'll keep choosing it each day. You packed the blue plates in a smaller box, left the yellow ones for me. We wrote our names across the cardboard like labels could make leaving easy. Your cab was waiting by the fire escape. The driver called a second time. stood inside the open doorway, holding back a careful smile. We didn't fail each other, we just reached a different view. Love can still be honest when it knows what not to do. Let this be a soft landing, no door slammed in the hall. We can set the memories down without breaking them at all. I will miss the life we carried, but I won't ask it to stay. Be a soft landing and a kind beginning to the change. We walked your suitcase to the sidewalk, checked the address one last time. You gave me back the spare apartment key, I gave you the photograph you liked. We laughed about the first bad dinner, how the smoke alarm went on for hours. Then the car pulled up beside us, the morning brightened all the towers. There was sadness in the silence, but no anger left to prove. We had loved each other fully, now we had to let love move. Let this be a soft landing, no door slammed in the hall. We can set the memories down without breaking them at all. I won't miss the life we carried, but I won't ask it to stay. Let this be a soft landing and a kind beginning to the change. Someday I'll pass this corner and remember who we were. Not as something that was wasted, but a season that was worth it. You made my world larger, this became a soft landing. You waved before the car pulled away. I held the door and watched the sunlight fill the room. You couldn't stay, and I will keep the love without you and make something new from here. This became a soft landing, and the next step feels sincere.
Just before 8, 2 rented bikes waiting by the gate. You said the streets are ours before they fill, then handed me a helmet and started downhill. We crossed the avenue ahead of the crowd, your jacket open, your laughter loud. At every light you turned to see if I was still close behind your wheel. I barely knew your morning face, you barely knew my speed, but every block made something simple out of what we didn't need to name. Meet me in the early hours before the plans begin. We'll take the streets without a reason, let the daylight pull us in. I don't know where this is going, but I like the way it starts. Meet me in the early hours with the whole the river near the pier. Watched a ferry cut the water clear. You took a picture when I looked away, then made it the background on your phone that day. We rode back slower through the neighborhood, talking about everything we thought we should. When we reached my building after 10, you asked what time to meet again. Nothing had to be decided, nothing had to move too fast, but the way you planned another morning made me want this one to last. Meet me in the early hours before the plans begin. We'll take the streets without a reason, let the daylight pull us in. I don't know where this is going, but I like the way it starts. Meet me in the early hours with the whole day in our hands. Maybe love can start in motion. No perfect line, no perfect scene. Just two shadows crossing bridges while the city turns from gray to green. You looked back and waited for me. Meet me in the early hours. Now I know I'll show up too. We'll keep choosing open mornings, keep discovering something new. I don't need to see the ending, I can trust the moving start. Meet me in the early hours. You already have my heart.
You opened both our calendars across the bed, circled the month when your lease would end. I drew a line from your side of town to mine, then crossed it out and wrote a different plan.
You said, what if we start commuting, love?
I said, I've been thinking the same thing.
We search for places with enough morning light
and room for both our separate desks. Every plan had lived in someday, every promise stayed unclear. Then we put a date beside it, and someday became next year. Next year, let's make it ours. One address, two sets of keys. We'll bring the parts of every neighborhood that made you you and made me me. We don't need the perfect answer, just a place where both can grow. Next year, let's make it ours and build a life we both can know. We toured an apartment on the 4th floor. Walk up, the kitchen tiles were cracked and blue. You stood where the sofa might be. I measured whether the table would fit through. The agent talked about the heating, but we were looking at the view. On the landing you took my hand and asked, can you really see us here?
I said I do.
All the distance felt temporary, all the waiting had an end. We weren't only choosing walls, we were choosing how to begin. Next year, let's make it ours. One address, two sets of keys. We'll bring the parts of every neighborhood that made you you and made me me. We don't need the perfect answer, just a place where both can grow. Next year, let's make it ours and build a life we both can know. fourth floor place with morning light. We'll carry every box together, then order dinner late at night. We don't need to know forever, we know where we're starting from. Next year we'll make it ours and call the same place home. You met me outside when my shift ran late, still wearing the jacket you bought last May. I thought we'd head home by the usual train, but you pointed downtown and smiled my way. You said we'd keep repeating every week. Let's miss one plan and see where it leads. The light changed over the avenue. You took my hand before I could choose. For once we had nowhere to be, and the whole evening opened easily. Let's take the ferry out, watch the skyline moving back. Leave our phones inside your pocket, let the water change the track. We don't need another reason, we just need a different view. Let's take the ferry out, I want more unplanned time with you. We reached the deck as the doors pulled wide. The wind caught your hair on the harbor side. You bought 2 tickets from the glowing screen and leaned on the rail and looked at me. We talked about the months that disappeared and all the little things we stopped doing. Nothing between us had gone away. We'd only let the days look the same. When you laughed above the engine sound, I felt the old spark coming around. Let's take the ferry out, watch the skyline moving back. Leave our phones inside your pocket, let the water change the track. We don't need another reason, we just need a different view. Let's take the ferry out, I want more unplanned time with you. Sometimes it only needs a door, a ride we never thought of taking, a night that gives us something more. I still like getting lost with you. We took the ferry out, watched the morning reach the shore. Now our phones are still inside your pocket, and we're not rushing anymore. We'll keep leaving room for chances, for the things we used to do. We took